Well, the answer's already obvious, title card. It's LarryBoy. If you don't believe me, please refer to the big secret, which is, in hindsight, not much of a secret anymore, since I've already done a video about it earlier this month. Anyways, what are we dealing with this time? It starts off with LarryBoy being called to save a cat from a tree. Oh boy, a typical superhero mission. Saving cats from trees. Riveting. But Bob is like, oh, he wants to tag along with him and all that. Well, the last time LarryBoy let someone tag along, look how that turned out. I mean, twice. Then again, give credit where credit is due. Bob is a way better person than Junior. But after pestering LarryBoy long enough, Bob is invited into the Hero League. Well, that was easy. But suddenly, Bob crowns himself leader of the team, hence this episode's title, and of course causes trouble for the team. To make matters worse, Motato has modified his French fry gun to be a mustache shooter, which gives people mustaches. And the only way to get rid of them is to use an antidote, which Motato made himself, which seems counterproductive to the evil plan if you think about it. Heck, even his minions question why he made an antidote. Wait, who's reviewing this episode, me or them? Wow, I've always wondered what LarryBoy would look like with a mustache. Thanks, leader of the team episode. You answered one of my dying questions. Don't tell me you weren't curious too. For the most part, this episode thrives on comedy. Now, to be technical, there were some legitimately funny moments, and then other times where the comedy falls flat. One funny moment was when Bob was begging for LarryBoy to take him on a mission, and he says, "I'll be your best friend," to which LarryBoy responds, "You're already my best friend." Okay, maybe that joke was the first to fall flat. And then seconds later, Bob calls him pretending to be Mayor Archibald. I mean, come on, Bob and Archibald have the same voice actor. Doesn't that count? By the way, even Bob can't believe that Jimmy Boy is part of this silly Hero League. But don't worry, this episode gets funnier and funnier. Bob gets to test drive the Larrymobile, and he constantly hits the brake, slowing them down during their mission. You know, I have better driving skills than that. Now let's talk about the awkwardness that this episode has. First of all, the opening scene was alright until you realize that the characters' eyes are wonky. Like, they don't seem natural or properly proportioned. It looks kinda awkward. Like, you don't see me having weird eyes that are disproportioned. Second, how come no one leaves the store when they see Motato wielding the mustache gun? It's not like he's holding them hostage or anything. Like, feel free to leave the store, guys. While that's going on, Motato has a musical number that, for some reason, is still stuck in my head, even as I make this video, because it's so obnoxious. The song is about mustaches, good for him. But he has a mustache too. Any more weird obsessions? Also, say what you want about the lesson of this episode, which is to learn from experienced people, but it didn't seem like Bob got the message. When he goes back to the hero hideout to tell the heroes about the antidote, he apologizes for being a know-it-all, but then he says, "But that's not important as, you know, whatever." I don't know. So you weren't really apologizing, but only justifying why you still want to join this team. An apology is not saying, "Well, I'm sorry, but..." No. An apology is, "I'm sorry." Point blank, period. And then, when all is forgiven, you could say what you were going to say before. Another thing that was a hit and miss was the climax. It started and ended quickly. There was no fight scene, no endgame. They simply create a distraction, take out the bad guys, and get the antidote. It's easy, but probably too easy. Even the antidote itself was easy. Easy as having a regular pepper shaker, because the mustaches are sneezed off when you sprinkle it on the nose. 1 point for creativity, I guess? This episode was a downgrade from some of the good episodes that I've seen this month. Bob goes from being the voice of reason to a whiny puppy wanting attention. Potato doesn't have a cool invention this time, but more of a recycled weapon that can do different stuff. And Jimmy Boy seems more down to earth and judgmental than Bob this time. Like he has room to talk. The reason why Jimmy is a superhero is because he stole Larry Boy's identity in the Jimmy Boy episode. So think about that. If you wanted to do an origin story on how Bob became a superhero, then this was not the best story to explain it. So best leave this episode shelved.